The first contact deception. The vast emptiness of space held its breath as the Zorn reconnaissance vessel glided silently above Earth's orbit. Commander Krell Voxnar adjusted his bio-neural interface, scanning the planet below with a mixture of professional detachment and growing unease. Something about this world didn't add up. An unexpected target. Krell's species, the Zornian Collective, had successfully catalogued and subjugated hundreds of emerging civilizations. Their methodology was precise, almost surgical: assess, categorize, and conquer. But Earth presented an anomaly that defied their standard protocols. Tactical analysis incomplete, his secondary neural processor chirped, an unusual occurrence that sent a ripple of concern through Krell's neural pathways. The planet's technological signatures were maddeningly inconsistent. Primitive industrial infrastructure coexisted with quantum-level energy signatures that should be impossible for a species at this developmental stage. The communications specialist, Sarah, turned from her scanning console. Her translucent skin shifted colors, a sure sign of heightened emotional response. Commander, we're detecting multiple concealed energy signatures. They don't match any known technological profiles in our database. Krell's mandibles clicked together, a gesture of frustration unique to his species. The Zornian Collective prided itself on comprehensive intelligence. Every civilization they encountered was meticulously documented, its technological capabilities precisely mapped. Earth was becoming an irritating exception. Hidden depths. Deep beneath the planet's surface, in a facility that didn't exist on any official record, Dr. Elena Rodriguez smiled. She watched the alien vessel's futile attempts to penetrate their defensive screens. Years of preparation, decades of misdirection were about to pay off. Quantum disruption field at 87% capacity, her colleague, Dr. Marcus Wung, reported. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see. The facility was a testament to humanity's most closely guarded secret. Multiple species, survivors of previous Zornian conquests, had found refuge here. Technologies beyond imagination were being developed, a united front against a seemingly unstoppable galactic threat. The reconnaissance mission. Krell reviewed the data streams again. Industrial cities with outdated infrastructure. Military bases using what appeared to be combustion-based technology. Communications networks that seemed laughably primitive. Yet beneath this facade, something else pulsed, a technological heartbeat that suggested something far more complex. Prepare detailed reconnaissance report, Krell instructed Sarah. But mark it as anomalous, something doesn't align. Little did he know, every piece of data he was collecting had been carefully crafted. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't advanced technology. It was the ability to appear deliberately unremarkable. The Hidden Alliance. In a secure communication hub, representatives from 7 different alien species monitored the Zornian vessel. They had learned the hard way that direct confrontation with the collective meant extinction. Humanity offered a different approach: misdirection, patience, and a deep understanding of psychological warfare. "They're taking the bait," whispered Zarelin, a delegate from the Krillian resistance. Her species had been nearly wiped out by the Zornian Collective decades ago. Now they were part of something larger, a coalition built on hope and strategic brilliance. The first deception. As the Zornian vessel continued its surveillance, unaware of the layers of deception surrounding it, humanity prepared. Not with overt displays of military might, but with a calculated strategy of appearing less than they were. Dr. Rodriguez watched the alien ship's movements. "They'll report back exactly what we want them to see," she murmured. "And when the time comes, they'll never see us coming." The game of galactic chess had begun, and humanity was about to make its most unexpected move. Conclusion of first contact. Commander Krell Voxnar would submit his report, marking Earth as a primitive world of little consequence. The Zornian Collective would file it away, another potential conquest for a future campaign. They had no idea of the storm that was brewing, a storm humanity had been quietly preparing for generations. Shadows of preparation. The archives of the Terran Accord were not kept in gleaming servers or digital cloud systems. Instead, they resided in the most unexpected of places, a nondescript research facility carved deep within the Andes Mountains, where reality blurred between cutting-edge technology and carefully crafted misdirection. The first whispers of threat. 50 years earlier, everything changed when the Krillian scout ship crash-landed in the Atacama Desert. Dr. Joaquin Ramirez, then a young astrophysicist, was the first to make contact. The dying alien pilot, with translucent skin now mottled and torn, spoke of a threat far beyond human comprehension, the Zornian Collective. "They consume civilizations like you breathe air," the alien had whispered, his universal translator crackling with each labored breath. "Resistance is not just about technology, it's about understanding." Those words became the foundation of what would eventually become the Terran Accord. Building the Unseen Alliance. The facility hummed with activity. Holographic displays mapped out complex strategic networks, showing the intricate web of alliances forged in absolute secrecy. Representatives from 6 alien species worked alongside human researchers, their differences set aside by a singular purpose: survival. Director Elena Rodriguez walked the central corridor, her footsteps echoing against walls embedded with quantum-dampening technology. Each room represented a different aspect of their grand strategy: technological adaptation, psychological warfare, diplomatic maneuvering. "The Zornian methodology is predictable," explained Kurlin, a Krillian strategist whose species had been nearly wiped out decades ago. Her crystalline appendages manipulated holographic data with practiced ease. "They assess, they categorize, they conquer, but they've never encountered a species that understands the true nature of resistance." Technological resurrection. In a sealed laboratory, Dr. Marcus Wung examined fragments of technology salvaged from various conquered civilizations. Each piece told a story of destruction, but also of potential. Reverse engineering wasn't just about understanding alien tech. It was about reimagining defensive capabilities. "Look at this quantum entanglement modulator," he said to his colleague, Dr. Annika Patel. "The Reixians developed this before their civilization was erased, but they didn't understand its full potential." Patel nodded, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface. "We're not just copying, we're evolving the technology, making it something the Zornian Collective could never anticipate." The Psychological Warfare Initiative. An entire wing of the facility was dedicated to understanding alien psychology. Linguists, anthropologists, and xenopsychologists worked in tandem, decoding communication patterns, analyzing potential invasion strategies, and developing counter-narrative techniques. "It's not about matching their technological might," explained Dr. Ramon Garcia, head of the Psychological Warfare Division. "It's about making them question their own assumptions. Every piece of technology we develop, every communication strategy we design, it's a psychological weapon." Gathering the survivors. Not all allies were willing at first. Species that had been brutally conquered by the Zornian Collective carried deep wounds. Trust was a currency more valuable than any advanced weapon. In a circular chamber lined with adaptive membranes that could change visual properties in milliseconds, representatives from these species shared their stories. The Voxari, whose homeworld had been strip-mined. The Nyxilian refugees, reduced to scattered colonies. The remnants of the Krillian resistance. Kurlin stood at the center, her body casting prismatic reflections. Humanity offers something different, not just protection, not just revenge, but a chance to redefine our place in the galaxy. The unseen preparation. Years of work condensed into multiple layers of preparation. Technological innovations that appeared primitive to outside observers. Communication networks that seemed fragmented but were actually quantum encrypted. Defensive systems that could transform from seemingly harmless infrastructure to formidable barriers. "They'll never see us coming," Director Rodriguez murmured, watching the holographic representation of their strategic network. "Because we don't look like a threat, we look ordinary." A promise of resistance. As the day shifted, and the facility continued its unseen work. A promise resonated through its corridors. A promise made not just by humans, but by a coalition of species who had learned that survival meant more than just technological superiority. It meant understanding, it meant adaptation, it meant hope. The Zornian collective was approaching, but they were about to learn a fundamental truth: appearances can be the most powerful deception of all. The gathering storm. The stars seemed to hold their breath as the first wave of Zornian reconnaissance vessels approached Earth's solar system. To any casual observer, the planet below appeared exactly as expected: a primitive world of limited technological capability, ripe for systematic conquest. The silent mobilization. Deep within the Andes Mountain facility, Director Elena Rodriguez watched the holographic displays with calculated calm. Around her, a symphony of coordinated activity hummed, each movement precise, each communication encrypted beyond comprehension. "Quantum network stabilization at 94%, announced Dr. Marcus Wung, his fingers dancing across adaptive interfaces that seemed to shift and change with each touch. "Adaptive camouflage systems are primed and ready." Caroline, the Krillian strategic advisor, moved with an ethereal grace. Her crystalline body refracted the holographic light, creating mesmerizing patterns that belied her species' traumatic history. "The Zornian fleet approaches with predictable arrogance," she observed. "They're scanning using the same methodological approach they've used for millennia." The global transformation. What the Zornian collective didn't understand was that humanity's strength lay not in obvious technological displays, but in its ability to transform. Infrastructure that appeared mundane, power grids, communication networks, industrial complexes, held secrets beyond imagination. In a seemingly ordinary control center beneath Tokyo, a team of international specialists worked in perfect synchronization. Major Hiroshi Tanaka monitored global defensive systems that looked like standard telecommunications infrastructure. To any external scan, they were nothing more than typical communication relays. "Quantum entanglement modules are online," Tanaka reported. "Our allied species are in position." The psychological battlefield. Dr. Ramon Garcia, head of the Psychological Warfare Division, understood that the real battle would be fought in perception. The Zornian collective relied on comprehensive technological assessment, a methodology that assumed linear progression of technological capabilities. "We're not just hiding our technology," Garcia explained to his team. "We're creating a narrative of deliberate limitation. Every scan they perform will confirm their existing assumptions about humanity." The Allied preparation. Representatives from 6 different species worked in harmony, their individual traumas transformed into a unified strategy. The Voxari, whose homeworld had been strip-mined, provided critical intelligence about Zornian invasion protocols. The Nyxilian refugees contributed advanced stealth technologies that made their current hiding look like primitive camouflage. Caroline addressed the assembled team, her voice resonating with a mixture of pain and hope. "The Zornian collective believes in categorization. They see civilizations as mathematical equations to be solved, but we are not an equation. We are a living, adaptive network." The approaching threat. Commander Krell Voxnar of the Zornian Reconnaissance Fleet studied the preliminary scans with growing confusion. The planet below presented an anomaly, technological signatures that contradicted everything in their extensive databases. "Preliminary assessment indicates technological level 3, his primary analysis system reported. "Recommended approach, standard pacification protocol." But something nagged at Krell's experienced instincts. The data didn't feel right. The coherence was too perfect, the primitive nature too uniform. The hidden strength. What the Zornian collective didn't comprehend was the true nature of human resistance. It wasn't about superior weaponry or advanced technology. It was about understanding that true strength lies in adaptability, in the ability to transform, to unite. The facility in the Andes continued its silent preparation. Quantum networks pulsed. Defensive systems waited, hidden in plain sight. The allied species stood ready. The gathering storm was about to break, and the Zornian collective would learn that appearances can be the most devastating weapon of all. Technological revelation. The first contact was nothing like anyone had anticipated. The unexpected engagement. Commander Krell Voxnar's reconnaissance vessel hung in Earth's orbit, its advanced scanning systems probing the planet's surface with increasing frustration. What should have been a routine preliminary assessment had transformed into something far more complex. Quantum anomalies detected, the ship's primary analysis system chirped, its normally confident tone tinged with uncertainty. Technological signature incompatible with previous assessments. In the hidden facility beneath the Andes Mountains, Director Elena Rodriguez allowed herself the smallest of smiles. The moment of revelation was approaching. The hidden network awakens. Dr. Marcus Wung watched as multiple systems began to synchronize, a dance of technology so intricate that it appeared almost organic. Quantum communication networks that had been dormant suddenly pulsed with life, their signals encrypted in patterns that would baffle even the most advanced alien scanning technologies. Adaptive camouflage at full capacity, he reported to the assembled team. Our allied species are in position. Curlin, the Krillian strategic advisor, moved with an otherworldly grace. Her crystalline body refracted the holographic displays, creating patterns that told a story of resistance and hope. The Zornian collective believes in linear progression, she explained. They cannot comprehend adaptive intelligence. The first strike. It began subtly. Communication systems across the Zornian reconnaissance fleet started to behave erratically. Navigation protocols became inexplicably scrambled. Quantum entanglement modules, technologies far beyond what the Zornians believed humans possessed, began to interfere with their most advanced scanning equipment. Major Hiroshi Tanaka watched from the Global Coordination Center in Tokyo. Psychological disruption protocols initiating, he reported. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see. Technological misdirection. What the Zornian collective didn't understand was that humanity's greatest weapon was not advanced technology, but the ability to manipulate perception. Every scan, every observation was carefully crafted, a narrative of deliberate limitation that concealed an intricate defensive network. Dr. Ramon Garcia, head of the Psychological Warfare Division, explained the strategy to his team. We're not hiding our capabilities. We're presenting a carefully constructed illusion that confirms their existing assumptions. The Allied response. Representatives from 6 different species worked in perfect synchronization. The Voxari provided critical intelligence about Zornian invasion protocols. The Nyxilian refugees contributed stealth technologies that made their current hiding look like primitive camouflage. They've conquered thousands of civilizations, explained a Nyxilian diplomat, her translucent form shifting with each word. But they've never encountered a species that understands the true nature of resistance. The moment of revelation. Commander Krell Voxnar's confusion turned to genuine alarm. The planet below was not what it seemed. Technological signatures that should have been impossible began to emerge, not as a sudden display of force, but as a gradual, almost organic revelation. Communication systems across the Zornian fleet began to experience inexplicable interference. Navigation protocols became scrambled. Quantum entanglement modules, technologies that should not exist at this level of civilization, began to interfere with their most advanced scanning equipment. The turning point. What happened next would be recorded in galactic history as the moment when everything changed. It wasn't a dramatic battle. It wasn't a show of overwhelming force. It was a subtle demonstration of capabilities that defied everything the Zornian collective understood about technological progression. Curlin's voice echoed through the facility. They will learn that technology is not about power, it's about understanding, it's about adaptation. The Zornian collective was about to receive a lesson they would never forget. Humanity was not what they appeared to be. and that was their greatest weapon. The diplomatic confrontation. The great chamber of the Zornian Central Diplomatic Corps fell silent as the transmission from Earth began to play. Commander Krell Voxnar stood at the center, his reconnaissance report challenging everything the collective believed about technological hierarchy. The unexpected transmission. Distinguished members of the Zornian Collective, the transmission began, spoken by Director Elena Rodriguez with a calm that belied the magnitude of the moment. We extend an invitation to discuss the future of galactic relations. The holographic display shifted, revealing not a primitive world, but a carefully orchestrated presentation of humanity's true capabilities. It was not a display of overwhelming force, but a calculated demonstration of strategic depth. The psychological battlefield. Dr. Ramon Garcia had spent decades preparing for this moment. The transmission was more than a communication. It was a psychological weapon designed to deconstruct the Zornian Collective's fundamental understanding of technological progression and conquest. Notice how they're not demonstrating technological superiority, he explained to his team. They're challenging our entire methodology of assessment and conquest. Curlin, the Krillian strategic advisor, watched with her crystalline body refracting the holographic light. Perception is the first battlefield, she murmured, and humanity understands this better than any species we've encountered. The Galactic Archive. The transmission began to unfold a narrative that shocked the Zornian leadership. It wasn't just about Earth. It was about the multiple species that had found refuge behind humanity's strategic shield, civilizations the collective believed they had completely eradicated. The Voxari representative appeared, their holographic form showing the remnants of a civilization stripped bare by Zornian conquest. Yet they stood not in defeat, but in defiance. We were not destroyed, the Voxari spokesperson declared. We were waiting. The strategic revelation. Director Rodriguez's presentation was a masterpiece of diplomatic warfare. Each slide, each piece of data challenged the Zornian Collective's fundamental assumptions. They showed not just technological capabilities, but a network of allied species that had been quietly preparing, learning, adapting. The era of linear conquest is over, Rodriguez stated. Her words were calm, almost conversational. We offer an alternative, cooperation, mutual understanding. The moment of uncertainty. For the first time in its 12-millennium history, the Zornian Collective experienced genuine uncertainty. Commander Krell Voxnar's reconnaissance report had been dismissed as an anomaly. Now, it appeared to be a critical warning. Major Hiroshi Tanaka, watching from the Global Coordination Center in Tokyo, understood the true nature of their strategy. We're not just defending, he explained to his team. We're redefining the very concept of galactic interaction. The Allied Network. Representatives from 6 different species stood together, not as conquered remnants but as a unified force. The Nyxilian refugees, the scattered Krillian resistance, the surviving Voxari, each told a story of survival, of adaptation. Curlin addressed the Zornian leadership directly. You classify, you categorize, you conquer, but you've never understood the most fundamental truth of existence, that true strength lies in adaptation, in understanding. The diplomatic ultimatum. The transmission concluded with a proposition that would echo through galactic history. It was not a threat. It was not a declaration of war. It was an invitation to reconsider, to understand, to evolve. We do not seek conflict, Director Rodriguez's final words rang out. We seek dialogue, we seek understanding. The great chamber of the Zornian Collective remained silent. For the first time in millennia, they had no immediate response. The diplomatic confrontation had begun, and humanity had just changed the rules of engagement.